Good evening. A good year to everyone. We're holding an Aseret Yimei Tshuva where Chaval tell us, normally if there's a hard gezerah, so sometimes it's hard to change a hard gezerah. But Tfilas Rabim, when our tzibur davens together, it's shayach to change, even to change a gezerah. But in Aseret Yimei, and where it's not always possible for a yachid, for an individual, but in Aseret Yimei Tshuva, the koach of the tefillah of a yachid has the koach of the tefillah of a rabbim. Every yachid is like a rabbim, has the koach of the tefillah of every individual is like a tefillas rabbim, like a tefillah of a whole congregation. Okay, so we need to take advantage of that. We need to take advantage of it. The Rebbeinu Shalom was saying, I'm here, I'm waiting for you. Just do tshuva, I'll accept you. Just ask me, I'll give you. Okay, so first of all, so I would like to go through some of the al-chaitz, but first I do want to say the 4 different categories of averis that we need kapara for, that a person needs kapara. 1, if a person transgressed the mitzvah aseh, a positive commandment, so it says, do tshuva right away, and you don't even have to wait till Yom Kippur to be forgiven completely. Let's say someone forgot to bench, right away, and time passed right away, say, Rebbeinu Shalom, I'm sorry, I forgot to bench. You gave me so much food, you give me everything, and I not even to thank you. Okay. I'm sorry, please help me, I should never ever do this again. Mamish, you're forgiven right away. So, but a mitzvah lo saseh, a negative commandment, it says, Tshuva tola, v'yom kippurim mechaper. Tshuva leaves the kapara hanging, meaning the forgiveness is not yet complete. And Yom Kippurim mechaper, Tshuva together with Yom Kippur, with the kedusha of Yom Kippur, person has a kapara for mitzvah lo saseh. And that is the tremendous simcha of Yom Kippur, that we become cleansed. We become cleansed, and we have to know it really happens. Yes, all of us, if we're doing tshuva, of course. Then comes lav sheyesh bo kares. If it's a mitzvah lo saseh that is deserving of kares, chas v'shalom, like chil Shabbos, let's say chil Shabbos d'oraisa, b'mezid, person has bad news. Person's chayiv misa and time based in. They got misas based in. Now it's misa b'dei shamayim, and it could be kares. It is kares. A person could die young and lose his olam haba, but if he does tshuva, he gets it all back. So there you need 3 things: tshuva, Yom Kippur, kedusha of Yom Kippur, and yisurim. When people are not thrilled about Yisurim. The Rabbeinu Yonah says that instead of Yisurim, if we get involved in Torah and Chesed, we can spare ourselves the Yisurim. So then, Tshuva, Yom Kippur, and a person doesn't need Yisurim if they get involved in Torah and Chesed. Learning Torah, supporting Torah, doing Chesed. Okay, and the 4th part is Chilul Hashem. The 4th category. So this is from the Rambam, which is based on the Gemara, Rambam Hilchos Tshuva and the Gemara in Yuma. So it says like this: Chilul Hashem, Tshuva Tola, Yom Kippurim Tola, Yisurim Tolim, the Yom HaMisa Mechaper. It needs a combination of 4 things in order to have a complete kapara: Tshuva, Yom Kippur, some form of suffering, and Yom HaMisa, the day of death. Doesn't mean that a person is going to die young, but it means that until the day of his death, he walks around with that tumah on his nefesh, and it distances him from HaKadosh Baruch Hu. However, says Rabbeinu Yonah, if you make a Kiddush Hashem instead, it cancels it out. And also I heard that by Ne'ilah, this thing I'm telling you, I don't know the makar for, but I heard that by Ne'ilah, you could daven and do tshuva and get a kapara for Chilul Hashem also. Okay. Now, so let's see, Al-Chet, what's the beginning of the sentence? Al chet shechatanu lefanecha ba'ones uveratzon. For the sin that we've sinned before you, whatever, and we'll continue on whatever it is. So what do you mean? It's not the beginning of a sentence. For the sin. So we have to have in mind, I am sorry for the sin we've sinned before you in this and this and this. Okay, so I'm going to go through some of them, not everything. It's in the order of Aleph Beis. If anybody wants to put a machzor in front of them, or a siddur that has the Mincha of Erev Yom Kippur, a lot of siddurim also have the Tfilas Yom Kippur, so you would see the Al Chet. So it's so I'm going like this. It goes according to the Aleph Beis twice. Al Chet shechatanu l'fanecha ba'ones of ratzon. The Al Chet shechatanu l'fanecha be'imutz halev. So I'm going to be referring the first Aleph, the second Aleph, the first Gimel, so on. I'm not going to do all of them. The second Aleph, the Al Chet shechatanu l'fanecha be'imutz halev, is with the hardening of the heart. What does it mean? So there are two things we could say here. One, a person does an Aveira and doesn't feel bad about it. So that's another Aveira. The Goyish world tries to make everyone think like you should not feel guilty about anything. Wrong. There is constructive guilt and there's destructive guilt. Destructive guilt is when you wallow in it and you become depressed. That's Yetzirah. But constructive guilt is you did an Aveira, you realize it's wrong, you feel bad about it, you do tshuva, and forget it. That's it. It's done. And you go weiter. Next, imutz halev would be hardening of the heart. When someone asks you for a favor, and you're able to do it, you have the ability, you have the possibility, and just don't feel like it. Don't feel like it. I remember it's in Heller, Gottlieb, what a wonderful lady, Isha Gedola. Anyway, she once said, one needs a very good reason to say no when somebody asks you for a favor. You should really try to say yes. In fact, Reb Chaim Olazhiner left a tzava for his children that a person wasn't created. Ha'adam lo la'atzmo nivra, ela lahoil la'achrina. That means a person was not created to live a selfish life, but to do good for others. That's going in the ways of Hashem, do more chesed and more chesed. If we have an opportunity for chesed and we do it, we're actually justifying our existence. Okay. Now, bivli das. Al chet shechatanu l'fanecha bivli das, the first base. Yeah. Without knowing. So there are two forms of shogeg. There's a shogeg where you know the halacha, and for a split second you forgot. Let's say a person walked out of a room on Shabbos and Chas v'Shalom turned off the light. And they go, what did I do? Like, they forgot for a second that it's Shabbos, or they forgot for a second that you're not allowed to. So they did it by mistake. They have to do tshuva. And shogeg, a person has to do tshuva also. It's not mezid, Chas v'Shalom, it's not kares, but it's very serious. And Rabbi Hellman Zatzal, our Menahel and our teacher in Beis Yaakov in Borough Park, he taught us, he said, if you do that on Shabbos, if you make that mistake on Shabbos, it means Shabbos wasn't in your bones. And not just that, it says, Ragle Chasidot Yishmar. Chana, the mother of Shmuel HaNavi, said it in her tefillah, Ragle Chasidot Yishmar. Hashem guards the footsteps of his devoted ones. His Hasidim is his devoted ones. Yeah. So the more devoted we are to Hashem, the more likely we won't fall into shogeg, because Hashem will stop us from it. Hashem will prevent us. There are many stories like that where HaKadosh Baruch Hu prevented a tzaddik from falling into shogeg. A rav that was by a certain achsanya, by a certain inn, and the innkeeper knew that the rav didn't hold from a certain shchita, from a certain shochet in the town. But he ran out of chickens from that shochet, and he used chicken from another shochet, and he made chicken soup and offered it to the rav. And he didn't tell the rav that it's from the shchita that the rav doesn't hold from. And the rav puts the spoon into the soup, is about to put the spoon in his mouth, and Baruch Hashem did not touch it to his mouth, because all of a sudden there were a bunch of ants, little ants swarming all over the soup. The innkeeper said, I'm so sorry. This never happened to me before, but I know why it happened. Rav, I'm so sorry. I admit, I confess. I used the wrong shechita. Hashem prevented you from eating from the shechita that you don't hold from. So, shogeg, yes, a person has to do, but then there's another kind of shogeg, bivli das, that we didn't know because we didn't learn the halachas. There are svarim, there's what to learn. Hilchos Shabbos, we should be learning our whole life. We should be reviewing them our whole life. Ishmeres halashon, review and review. There's so much to review. When a person learns the halachas, they'll know. Bivli das, there's svarim, open them up. Okay, then we have bitui sfasayim. The bitui sfasayim, expression of the lips. There are many expressions here in Al-Chet that have to do with speech, because speech is a special gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave the human race above the animal world, and it's such a gift. It's an expression of the neshama. Speech is an expression of the neshama, and HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave it to human beings, and if we abuse it, we're being traitors. Again, abusing a gift that HaKadosh Baruch Hu gave. That's why it's mentioned in so many different ways. Bitui sfasayim, expression of the lips. Next one is Al Chet Shechatanu L'Fanecha B'Galui V'Asaseh. I'm going on to Al Chet Shechatanu L'Fanecha B'Gilui Arayos. Now, Baruch Hashem, from people are generally not nechshol in Gilui Arayos, but there are branches. Negiah is a branch of Gilui Arayos, where a person might be nechshol, but they don't realize that it's actually an Isur D'Oraisa. I think from people that I'm talking to here all know that, but it's good to have an answer if people tell you, oh, it's just a geder, like, oh, you're Shomer Negiah, I'm not Shomer Negiah, what's going on? It's just a geder, it's just a fence? No way. It is an Isur D'Oraisa of Lo Sikrav. Don't come close to anyone you're not supposed to. And so Negiah is actually, in fact, the Sefer HaChinuch says, it's Yahar Val Yavar. It's a branch of Gilui Arayos. In case you need an answer to anyone that you come up, you meet up with different people. It's in Parshas Emor, in Chumash Vayikra, and Parshas Emor, on the pasuk, V'lo sechalulu es Shem Kodshi, V'nikdashti b'soch b'nei Yisrael. And the Sefer HaChinuch says over there that it's talking about the Zara Gilui Arayos and Shvichus Damim, a person has to be ready to die, and for their branches. A branch of Gilui Arayos would be Negiah. Okay, but there's also another thing. A person, let's say, is not nechshol in Negiah, not nechshol in Gilui Arayos, chas v'sholom. But if they cause thoughts of Gilui Arayos to the opposite gender, if they're walking in the street not dressed b'tznius, that's Al Chet Shechatanu L'Fanecha B'Gilui Arayos, causing thoughts of Gilui Arayos to someone who sees you. I say, burn those T-shirts. I'm talking to Nashim Tzidkanios, I'm not talking to you. But I'm saying in general, those T-shirts should be burned. Make a huge bonfire. Okay, B'dibur Peh, another example of speech. We're sorry that we abused our gift of speech. B'dasu v'mirma, I'm going on to Hey, Al Chet Shechatanu L'Fanecha B'har Hor Halev, with thoughts of the heart. So here's one example where we caused wrong thoughts to somebody else. Har Hor Halev is also, if we're not dan l'chav zchus. You see, because the question is, by a yid, it's machshava tova k'maseh. By a yid, if a yid plans to do something good and it doesn't work out, and he really tried, it's considered as he gets schar as if he did it. By a guy, machshava ra k'maseh, a guy wants to kill a yid and it didn't work out for him, he gets punished by Hashem as if he killed. By a yid, it's not like that. A yid might have a machshava to go do an aveira, but they didn't do it, they don't get punished. However, there are certain thoughts that are an Aveira. One of them we said, thoughts of Gilui Arayis, that if we cause it to somebody else. Not judging another Yid favorably. If that Yid is a Shomer Torah mitzvahs, you have to judge him favorably. And you know what? One needs a very good imagination sometimes in order to judge favorably. But suffice it to say that among Frum Yidden, most people are not out to get anyone. Most of the time, if there's something wrong, it was a mistake, or we just don't know the other side of the story. Rebbetzin Samet's great book, The Other Side of the Story. I remember Zilberfarber Lasham said they were in an apartment in England. They didn't have a phone. I'm talking years ago, like over 35 years ago. And the neighbor let them use the phone. And one time, they knocked on the door, and the neighbor, could I use the phone, please? And the neighbor said, nicht, in Yiddish, not. And they started to back away. And I said, what do you mean? You wanted to use the phone. Where are you going? 1 minute, but you said nicht. I said, nicht, chas v'shalom. I said, favas nicht. I said, why not? And that really happened, but it's also very symbolic of things that happen all the time, where a person just didn't hear the beginning of the sentence, didn't see the beginning of the picture. Okay. There's another thing with Har Halev, that, when you're thinking Divrei Torah, you have to stop when you go to a certain place, like, in the ladies' room, you're not allowed to think Divrei Torah. You're not allowed to think Divrei Kedusha in the ladies' room. Then Bahonoas Reya. Bahonoas Reya is giving tsar to another Yid. Giving tsar is Onas Mamon or Onas Dvarim. Hurting them financially or with words. And one form of Onas Dvarim is when somebody goes into a store, has absolutely no intention of buying anything that day, and just looks around and asks for prices, even though they're not planning to buy. They're mechuyev to say to the owner, I'm sorry, I'm just, I hope it's okay that I'll ask you for prices, even though I'm not planning to buy anything. And the owner will usually say it's fine, but at least they'll know and they won't be disappointed that they're thinking you want to buy something. You're asking prices. So you really mechuyev to say, I'm not planning to buy. Is it okay if I ask for prices? So they look at you a little funny, but at least you weren't over on the Aveira of Lo Sonu, of not giving tsar to a Yid. Okay, then comes Vidui Peh. Vidui Peh. Saying Vidui with the mouth, isn't that what we're supposed to do? Isn't that the basis of tshuva, Vidui, Charata, and Kabbalah? So Vidui Peh is that I said Vidui with my mouth and I wasn't thinking about what I was saying. So then we have to say, I'm sorry that we said the Vidui without thinking. Okay. Then B'vidas Nus, B'zadon of Ishkaga, we spoke about Mezid and Shogeg. The second Zayin, Bezulzul, Horim, Umorim, a lack of kibbut avayim, a lack of kavod for teachers. Now, I do want to tell you a quick story about kibbut avayim. I might have told it on this line a while ago. I'm not sure, but it's a beautiful story. There was an old man who asked his grandson to accompany him. This man was a Holocaust survivor, to accompany him to a levaya, the funeral. After the levaya, the grandfather said to his grandson, this was the last of our group. This man who was nifter was the last one of our group. And he said, what do you mean? The grandson said, what do you mean? So he said, I'll tell you, my dear grandson, we were learning in a yeshiva not far from Vilna. Excuse me. And it was called Ramailis. And this was maybe it was 1930. It was before Hitler came to power. Yimach Shemo. And we heard that the Chafetz Chaim was coming to Vilna. We were so excited. We're going to see the Chafetz Chaim. It means we're going to see the Shechina. The Shechina is on the face of a Gadol B'Yisrael. To see the Chafetz Chaim, to see a Malach. And we'll get a bracha from him. Everyone was excited. The Bachram were all planning to go. It wasn't so far from Vilna. But this boy's father, this grandfather's father, told him, I don't want you to go because there's going to be a huge crowd and I'm afraid you're going to get squashed and I'm afraid it's a sakana, that you could get hurt. Okay, so he felt terrible. He really wanted to go. All the Bachram were going. He was the only one who was not going. But he listened to his father. Okay, they came back all excited. We saw the Chafetz Chaim, and we got brachas from him. We got a bracha from him for Arichus Yamim, to live a long life. Said this grandfather, I followed up with all these, with my whole Chabura. They all survived the war, and they all lived a long life. Get it, ladies? That was the last of them, but this man was still alive. They got a bracha from the Chafetz Chaim for a long life, and he got a bracha from the Torah for a long life. He used to live a long life. Okay, I heard a beautiful thing about a way of kibbud avayim from Rabbi Ephraim Shapiro. Never thought of it that way because it's fun to talk to my brother. So I never thought of it that, that's kibbud avayim. It makes my parents happy when my brother and I are like each other and treat each other well. I say, it's not really Shem Shemayim by me because it's fun. It's geschmack to talk to him, but you get kibbud avayim for that even after they were nifter. They have nachas and Gan Eden when a brother and a sister get along well and are nice to each other. So that's kibbud avayim. It's kibbud avayim. Okay, let's go on. With a strong hand where it was too strong, with kas, let's say. So we spoke about that. Foolishness of the mouth. And then the next one is betumas fasayim, impurity of the lips, meaning talking about things that should not be spoken about, like private inyanim between husband and wife should not be spoken about to friends, chas v'shalom. Sometimes somebody needs advice. They have to talk to a college teacher. They talk to their rav. They talk to another teacher. But stam, to discuss such things with friends, is usher. It's mamash and isser. That's tumas fasayim. What do you mean? Everything we do wrong is with the Yetzer Hara. So number one, that we listen to the Yetzer Hara. Hashem gave us the ability to overcome. Number two, the Chafetz Chaim told his Talmidim one day, this morning the Yetzer Hara started up with me. He told me, you're an old man. Stay under the covers a little longer. You don't have to get up so early. And I told him, you're older than me and you're up already. So we're sorry, Hashem, that we didn't learn from the zrizus of the Yetzer Hara. He's quick. And he's excited to make us do wrong. So we should learn from that to have zrizus for mitzvahs. Okay, next. We're sorry for what we sinned before you, what we know and what we don't know. So what we don't know is things that we forgot, that Hashem remembers everything. And we think, how can we do tshuva about things we forgot? But we're saying, Hashem, even the things that we don't know about, or the things that we forgot about, we just want to do your ratzon, so please forgive us. This is comforting. And then we, and for all of them, Hashem who forgives, please forgive us, forgive us, forgive us. There are levels of forgiveness, and we're asking for the complete forgiveness. We know this is where the whole kahal, the whole congregation sings, and the chazan repeats it, and it's very, very heartwarming. Let's go to the second chaf. I'm going to read, but I'll stop only by certain ones. It's all important, but we can't do all of them. With lying, two sorts of lies. Kachash is lying about the present or the past. Kazav is lying about the future. For example, babysitting for taking care of a young child, and the child is making trouble. You go to bed, I'll get you ice cream tomorrow. And tomorrow comes, and you don't get that child ice cream. You teach the child that promises don't count. It's an avera. You promise the child something, you have to give them. You promise, you give. You make up to meet somebody at 1:30 and you don't try too hard to make it on time, or at least call if you see you're going to be late. You tell somebody somebody needs you to make a phone call for them to help them out with something. Make the phone call. Call them up and call them back and tell them I made the phone call. I'm waiting for an answer. At least they know they're not ignored. Moshe Rabbeinu, when Hashem told him, ask the Yidden if they want the Torah. So Moshe Rabbeinu came and they said, Nasa v'nishma. And then it says, Vayoshev Moshe es divrei ha'amel Hashem. And Moshe brought back the words of the nation to Hashem, but Hashem heard it. Hashem knew it. So Rashi tells us, you learn derech eretz from here, that you should say, Asisi shlichuscha. To say, I did what you asked me. My husband told me that he was learning in Panovich, and his parents were living in Yerushalayim, and he was going home for Shabbos. So Reb Chatzkel Levenstein gave him an envelope with tzedakah money that he was supposed to give over to someone. And of course he gave it over. Reb Chatzkel called him after Shabbos, and said, I'm sure you gave it over. Yeah, he said, I did. He said, but you know what you're supposed to do? You're supposed to come and tell me I gave it over. Because that's what it says, Vayoshev Moshe es divrei ha'amel Hashem. Moshe brought back the words of the nation to Hashem to teach us, yes, say, I did what you asked me. That is, don't disappoint the person because of. The Chafetz Chaim really made a big revolution. He made a huge revolution. Till the Chafetz Chaim wrote Shmiras HaLashon, there were people who actually thought that if it's emes, it's not Lashon Hara. Okay, Talmidei Chachamim knew the emes, but in the world in general, even in the Jewish world in general, it's not Lashon Hara, it's the truth. If it's not the truth, then it's worse than Lashon Hara. Then it's Hotzah Shemra. But if it's the truth, it's Lashon Hara. So we know that by now because the Chafetz Chaim made this revolution, major revolution. Now, Bertzim Kanievsky used to tell everyone that the Manchester Rosh Yeshiva Zatzal said, any family where they learn 2 halachas a day of Shmiras HaLashon, they see big Yeshuas in the family. That's not why we should do it. We should do it so we should become more proficient at Shmiras HaLashon. By the way, you see Yeshuos. Now, Latzon is mockery, making fun, chas v'shalom, of anything in the Torah, chas v'shalom, making fun of people who are good Yiddish people. Let's say a person has certain chumras that I don't have, but it's not, it's a nice chumrah, it's a good chumrah. You're not mechuyev, okay, but don't make fun of them just because you feel guilty that you're not on their madrega. And there are people who like to show that they're very sharp and they crack jokes, and cracking jokes could be a good thing as long as it doesn't hurt anyone. Now, if it's cracking jokes at people, about people, of course these people are not going to show that they're hurt, but they're very hurt. And sometimes a person thinks they're going to become popular like that. They're being so funny, everybody's going to laugh. But no one's going to trust them because they know that they're next. A sense of humor is a positive thing, as long as it's not on the cheshbon of somebody. Business dealings. You owe people money. The Chafetz Chaim used to say before Ne'ilah, he would say to his Talmidim, think if you owe anybody money, right now, this second you can't pay, it's Yom Kippur, be makabel in your mind that you're going to pay them back right away. I saw a letter from a lady outside of Zichron Moshe. Saw a lady posted a letter that her sister from Olam Haba came to her in a dream and told her that she owes 154, I don't remember if it was 154 or 540 shekel to Shalom Express Market. It's a beautiful store, supermarket in Geula. Anybody who's been there knows the one going down the steps on Malchei Yisrael. It's really nice. And they're very quick. The Kitzer, I didn't want to tell the story over unless I knew it really happened. So I went to Shalom Express Market. And I said, excuse me, I'm a teacher in seminary. And they said, you want to know about the dream? It's true. I said, would you mind telling me the details? They said, okay, a sister and a brother met early one morning by their store, and they both had the same dream. And they came and they said, our sister owes, I think it was 154 shekel, but they didn't want to take money because of a dream. So they're looking up in the books, and they don't see anything written down. They said, please, is there another book? So they looked up in an older book, and they found the exact amount that she had said in her dream. She must have been a very honest person, and she must have been a big tzaddikus that Hashem allowed her to fix it from Olam Haba. Of course, they paid it up. Then we find, let's say you borrow a sefer. People are happy when you use their sefarim. You come to somebody's house, you use a sefer, but you must put it back in the right place. Otherwise, it's gezel. The person has to go looking for the sefer afterwards. We had a Chashuv Yid in Lakewood, with David Shapiro, Zichrono Livracha, was killed in a car accident on Erev Shabbos on Friday, and his coffin was in the yeshiva over Shabbos, and a bacher was resting, and he saw him in a dream. And Rabbi David Shapiro was telling him, there's a sefer that I borrowed from a certain place in the yeshiva library, and I didn't return it to the right place. Right now the sefer is in another room. Please, could you return it to this and this place? The bacher got up and said, probably dreams are nothing, but I'll check. And he checked, and it was exactly like he said. Okay, with eating and drinking, if we weren't careful about a hechsher, just today we heard a hair-raising speech, frightening speech from Rabbi Kuber, who was a tremendous detective of kashrus, literally a detective of kashrus. And he was saying, wow, places where people think it's okay to eat in certain hotels, and he says, no, the mashgiach is hardly there. There are Arabs working there. They could be putting on the fire. Let's say a Jew put on the fire in the morning. It's nothing for an Arab to close the fire and put it on again. And then it's bishul akum, which is a complete isser, etc. If the freezer is not locked, and there's meat there, it's basar shenasalim in ha'ayin. It's meat that you didn't watch over, and there are goyim working there. Any guy could come and exchange the meat with treifa meat. A person does not know. And this happens a lot in hotels. There are certain hotels that are exceptions. And it's really not simple at all. One has to check so carefully. And then also, we know about bugs, that's 6 lavim. And then also, what about a bracha? Bracha with kavana, before and after. A good gather would be not to forget, did I make an al hamichya, did I not make an al hamichya? Not to get up from the table before you make an al hamichya. You're allowed to, but it's a good sense that we shouldn't forget. Birkas hamazon with kavana. B'neshach u'b'marbis v'netias garam b'sikur ayin. Al cheshach v'telem v'necha b'sikur ayin. Sikur ayin is a virus that one does with the eyes. Looking at inappropriate pictures on the internet. An internet without a filter is sikur ayin. A person has to clap hard al chet if they have an internet without a filter, without a really, really kosher filter. Reading books that have in them inappropriate things. Also for women, it's worse for men, but it's also usher for women. It's a isur d'oraisa of lo tasuru acharei levavchem b'charei einechem. not going after your mind and your heart. Any book that has any heresy in it, any apocarsis, or any anything inappropriate, yeah, you're not allowed to read it. It's an Isser D'Oraisa. People think, oh, it's just a good idea. No, it's an Isser D'Oraisa of Lo Sasura Chalav Chamachareinechem. It's a lav. Lo Saseh. Okay. Sikur Ayin is also when, so there's a whole list in the Siddur Otzat Filos. You're not supposed to look for a rainbow. If you see it, you make a bracha. But don't call people to say, I just saw the rainbow, come look how pretty it is. It is pretty. But it means Hashem is angry. And He's promised He wouldn't bring a marble. But you're not supposed to go looking for it, and you're not supposed to call other people to see it. If you go to the zoo, you're not supposed to watch animals mating. If you see Divrei Torah on the floor, you have to pick it up. If you see food on the floor, you have to pick it up. Not outside in Eretz Yisrael because, it could be a bomb. But we're talking inside. If you see food, chas v'shalom a bomb. But I'm saying inside in the house, you need to sweep up the crumbs. It's bizoy ochel to leave food on the floor. Okay. The siach siach sefsosenu, also the speech of our lips. Beinayim ramos ba'azus metzach is chutzpah. Then b'frikas ol v'al kula v'lokas slichos slach lanu machal lanu kaper lanu. What's al chet shechatanu f'necha b'frikas ol, throwing off the yoke? What does that mean? Oh, this mitzvah is not for me. Oh, what do you mean? It's a mitzvah in the Torah. It's for everyone. So that would be frikas ol. And that's just for Rebbitzins. Some people think, okay, not you people that are listening to this, but some people think that, covering your hair, that's for Rebbitzins. No, that's called prikasol. What do you mean that mitzvah is not for me? Then you have the flilus, with incrimination, with judging other people unfavorably, where you should be judging them favorably. We're not talking about a Russia. A Russia, you're not supposed to judge favorably. But it depends. If they don't know better, that's a different story. But I'm saying people who should know better. The flilus is also chas v'shalom, judging Hashem, deciding that you know better how to run the world than Hashem, chas v'shalom. Okay, the tzdias reya, catching a friend, like catching someone off guard, embarrassing them. The tzaras ayin is kina, envy, not being happy with somebody else's success. The kalus rosh is lightheadedness. Talking in shul would be kalus rosh. Talking by chazaras hashatz, talking by kriyas haTorah. You're not even allowed to talk in between aliyos. You're allowed to say tehillim. You're allowed to look and learn something, but you're not allowed to even talk in learning with somebody else. That would be kalus. Well, learning is not kalus rosh chas v'shalom, but any in shul talking where you're not supposed to, it's a big isser. Okay, then comes the kashis oref, stubbornness. Stubbornness would be not trying. I'll put it this way: ignoring Hashem's messages. Hashem sends messages. When things happen to us, we have to try to figure out what Hashem wants us to fix. We can't always figure it out, but we could try to figure out something. And we do it with midah keneged midah. Try something. I know a lady who fell and broke her finger, and while she was lying there in the kvish, in the road, Baruch Hashem, there were no cars coming. She was thinking, what can I fix with my hand? Hashem is waking me up. She said she always used to do all her cooking on Friday, and it became tense in the house. So she was makabel on herself that she doesn't go to sleep Thursday night unless she at least cooks one thing for Shabbos. Does one thing, even if she peels the cucumbers, just one thing, makes eggs, whatever it is. One mitzvah leads to another. She ended up doing a lot more on Thursday than she ever used to. She was glad she broke her finger, and she was glad that Hashem also healed it. But she didn't get depressed from it. She was saying, Hashem loves me. He's waking me up. So that's midah keneged midah. That's otherwise, if a person says, nah, I don't have to try to figure out what to fix, that's kashis orif, that's stubbornness. It should be with simcha, that Hashem is helping me to fix, to grow. Beritzas Raglayim Laharabi, Rechilus, what's the difference between Lashon Hara and Rechilus? And we know Lashon Hara is when you speak about someone. Rechilus is when someone, Reuben spoke about Shimon, bad about Shimon, and Levi heard it, and Levi goes and tells Shimon, Reuben spoke about you. Any kind of waking up any hatred between people is Rechilus. Next, Shvuas Shav, a false oath. A bracha levatala would be like a gather, would be like a branch of a false oath. And then sinas chinam. B'sesumas yad is helping another person to do an aveira. The simhon levav is with wondering about the emunah, not being unsure chas v'shalom of emunah. And then we ask Hashem to forgive us all. I want to wish you all a Gmar Chasima Tova. We should be zocha that it should be a Shnas Geula v'Yeshua. We should be zocha to see Mashiach this year. And Hashem should answer all of your tefillos, all of Klal Yisrael's tefillos, Barachamim, B'chesed of Barachamim, and also an easy fast. That is how my parents used to wish us. Have an easy fast, so you could daven well, so you could fast well. Okay. And it's a good yantif. Yom Kippur is a yantif. Yes, it's trembling, but it's a lot of joy because we're being cleansed completely. Kol Tuv, thanks for listening. Our dear friend Elisheva Fisher has sponsored this shir as a refuah shlema, as a chus for refuah shlema for Esther Malka Bas Tzipora. May she have a refuah shlema b'soch sha'ar chol Yisrael. Thank you, Elisheva. Tiz kila mitzvahs.